Hello, this is Gio. Hey, look what I have here. Well, this is a air conditioning unit, a LG, fairly large window unit. It is 10,000 BTUs, if I recall, and it is model number LW1015ER. And it's getting to the time when I need to install this in our window because it's starting to get warm. But first, I kind of want to clean it out. It has a lot of dirt and debris inside, and possibly even some mold that we really don't want to get into the house. So it's a good idea to clean these things periodically, if not every year, at least every couple of years. And I'll show you how to do that today. So the first thing you want to do is just to carry it outside because I will be using a garden hose to help spray it clean. And I'm going to be removing the side panels first, the part that kind of closes off the window once you get the AC unit in. Now, as you can see, this particular AC unit, the side panels are cracked, and so I will have to replace those at a later date. But for now, I'm just going to remove the entire side panel, and I do this by removing 4 screws on the side. Now, your AC unit may come off a slightly different way. It either the panel may just completely slide up, or maybe it's attached with some adhesive, but you'll just have to remove it so you can clean off the unit. So you will need to remove the outer shell or cabinet of the unit, basically the metal housing behind the front. And you do that by removing a series of screws. Once all these screws are removed, in most cases, the AC unit will actually slip out. And so the outer shell is kind of like a box that encloses the entire unit. In my case, the shell is only from the top. So I'm going to just kind of lift out off the shell once I remove all these screws. So here I'm removing the filter of the AC unit. You can do this at any time, but I first need to do this because there's a couple of screws behind the filter which will allow me to first take the faceplate off the AC unit, which will help me remove the shell. I also need to take off the guide rail to the side panels, which require removal of 3 screws. And with all that removed, now I can actually take off the outer shell. Now here I am having a little trouble getting it off, mainly because there's some insulation that's adhered to the outer shell with some adhesive. And so I have to tear off a little bit of that foam, as you can see here, but there's really no other way of getting the shell off. And this is what it looks like in the inside. It actually doesn't look as bad as I thought it would. There's some grime. The cooling or the evaporating coil does look pretty dirty, as you can see here. But that's pretty much the worst of it. There is some debris in the inside, and you can see some rust and some cobwebs, etc. It's a little bit of mold, but nothing that can't just be kind of cleaned out. So that's what we're going to be doing next. And here is the blower fan right there. And you can see the back fan moving as well. In back, you get the condenser coil, as you can see that, and that looks pretty clean from the outside anyway. I'm not sure, you can't really get access from the inside very well without removing those plastic components, but we won't do that here. But let's just start cleaning this thing off. Before we start spraying it with the hose, first I want to remove the temperature sensor, which you see right here. It's right in front of the cooling coil. And you want to be careful removing that. You don't want to damage it. We're going to try to get that out of the way safely. That is what helps regulate the temperature of the unit. We also want to try to protect any electronics, which is behind that little box and screen right there. So we're going to put some plastic around that and see if we could help protect that from water because there's some delicate electronics in that. And so what I'm just going to do first is just take kind of a really soft brush and try to brush off this cooling coil. Now you could try it with a shop vac, but I've discovered that doesn't really work very well. So I'm just going to lightly use a very soft brush. These bristles are not stiff, they are soft, and they tend to do a good job just kind of getting a lot of this dust and debris off the cooling coil. So next, I'm just going to use a can of compressed air to just kind of blow some of the last residual dust off. You could also use a compressor for this if you have one handy. And then just try your best to try to get some of the larger debris out. You can use a little brush to help kind of loosen some debris. This is just an initial kind of cleaning. We're going to be spraying some water. Using a hose in a little bit. So this is just kind of getting some of the crusties and getting things kind of loosened up, especially in that bottom tray. So when spraying, I like to put the AC unit on its side so things just don't drain into the drain pan. And so everything kind of flushes out of the drain pan as I clean it. And now here comes the fun part with the hose. Now you want to take a hose, don't use too much pressure. You can see I'm not using a lot of pressure, just more of a kind of a broad spray, but just kind of get everything wet and start loosening up the harder material first. Once everything's wet, you can use a little, maybe a dish brush or a softer brush, even a toothbrush to help clean all the debris off. Just make sure you don't damage or bend any components while you're scrubbing. So after you get all the debris off, what I like to do is use like a 10% solution of bleach sprayed on the entire unit. Now this will help kill off any bacteria or mold growth there. Now you're going to try to get everything as wet as you can and let it sit maybe for 10 or 15 minutes and then use a hose to rinse it off thoroughly. That should help control the mold. And this is what it looks like after the cleaning. A little bit better at least. I think I'm happy with it. But before I put back on the shell, I'm going to first test her out. I'm holding the little temperature sensor in my hand. It's a little cold out, so warm it up a little bit. Turn it on and make sure everything works properly before I put everything back together. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like button at the bottom of the screen and even consider subscribing to my channel. I have many more videos to come. Bye-bye.